Like father, like son. Like father, like son. Think about it.
Digital gramophone makes no sense.
Hey guys, John doing a response to a thread. Haven't been doing too many responses to these things lately, but I thought this one would be a good one. And it was started by one of my favorite channels, long time favorite channel of mine, Beth at B-Side Records. She did a Gimme 10 for Father's Day. I'm of course going to do a twist on it. I'm going to do like a split EP version of Gimme 10. First 5 are 5 albums that remind me of my dad. And then the next 5 are just 5 songs about fathers. So, albums that remind me of my dad. James Taylor, Sweet Baby James. This is actually his copy, or it belongs to my parents, but I think it was my dad's before they got married. Of course, James Taylor with a strong North Carolina connection. My dad growing up in Eastern North Carolina. But yeah, big James Taylor fan. I took all his James Taylor records. Traded one of them though. I actually traded the Flying Machine. I just wasn't a big fan of that one, but whatever. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Deja Vu. My dad, this is not his copy. My dad had this album in their record collection. And back before I was even collecting records, no, I was collecting, I mean, a little bit, not a ton. This was kind of like the infancy of me picking up some records like 20 years ago. But anyway, I bought one of those record frames and I framed my dad's copy of Deja Vu and gave it to him. I don't know why, but I did. So I always think of him when I listen to this record. And this is kind of a beat copy. His copy is probably in better shape than this one. It's just sitting in a frame. I mean, not the record, but yeah, you know. But probably the 2 groups that remind me the most of my dad are both R&B groups. My parents were huge 60s R&B fans, mostly Motown, mostly the more popular stuff, not your deep cuts by James Brown or Solomon Burke or Stax type stuff, but mostly Motown. And these 2 groups, the Temptations, here's the Temptations scene, Smokey, and the Four Tops. The Temptations really being my dad's favorite, but he also loved the Four Tops. That music, I mean, it was around all the time when I was a kid, all the time, and I love it to this day. A regular soundtrack that I don't have, I wish I had the soundtrack or I'd just show it, but the regular soundtrack that was in my life was the Big Chill soundtrack. And this was on that, A Wider Shade of Pale by Procol Harum. And so whenever I hear that song, I still connected to that soundtrack, which is weird. But it's one of my, a song that I never get tired of that song. So those are 5 that remind me of my dad. And then here are 5 songs about fathers or fatherhood. Couple CDs, why not? First being the song Father and Daughter off of Paul Simon's Surprise. I actually just picked this up and a couple more of his albums from this period because I was missing them. And now I think I'm only missing maybe 1 Paul Simon album, maybe 2. But Father and Daughter by Paul Simon. Here's one that might shock some people. I don't know, or you just haven't seen it in a while. Maybe you have. Maybe somebody's thought about this. Who knows? The album is Soup by Blind Melon from 1995. The song is called New Life. And it was Shannon Hoon writing about the birth of his daughter, the struggles of bringing a new life into this world. We all know, unfortunately, Shannon Hoon died from a drug overdose. So, sorry to bring the melancholy in. But it's still a very poignant song, I feel. And it was one that right before my son was born, I went back and dug the CD out. Because I always remembered that song. Even though I was only a teenager when it came out, I remember that song being pretty strong and written from a father's perspective. So I thought it was worth digging back out, and it is. It brings up some challenging thoughts about being a father or being a parent in general, but written from a new father's perspective. Here's another song in that same vein. This one being The Valleys of the Young by Andrew Bird from his album, Are You Serious? And that song in particular, and I'll read you the lyric, the opening line. Do you need a reason we should commit treason and bring into this world a son and leave the valleys of the young? Valleys of the young, valleys of brunch and tedium. And it goes on. But it's basically about leaving that life behind because things are definitely different once you become a parent. And it's also talking about some things, dealing with some ideas about is having a child brave or is it selfish? Is it a self-serving thing, becoming a parent? I think it's a great song. Obviously, the answer is yes, it's incredibly selfish. All right, and then I've talked about this album before. No. I'm going to talk about this. This song was actually written before the songwriter's child was born. I'm going to read the lyric from it too. The song is called The World Is on Fire by the band American Aquarium. This is a signed copy. That's not part of the cover art. This is a band out of Raleigh, North Carolina. You've heard my friend Elliot Cruz maybe talk about them. He did a review on their newest album that came out this year, which I've yet to get. So I've got a baby girl coming in the spring, and I worry about the world she's coming into. But she'll have my fight. She'll have her mama's fire. If anyone builds a wall in her journey, baby just bust right through it. I'll let you decide who that's addressed to. But it's a wonderful, wonderful song, kind of about the specific time. But it has staying power because of lines like that. And again, you know, some of us more serious people, as we're bringing life into this world, you know, we have some questions about it. That's good. We should question everything. Finally, this album I've talked about before. It's been a while. I talked about it a long time ago. Probably maybe like my 4th or 5th video that I ever made. The song I'm going to talk about is, I could talk about several because this whole album was inspired by fatherhood. It's Sturgill Simpson's A Sailor's Guide to Earth, and basically this album has a lot of songs inspired by the birth of his son and, fatherly advice, inspired by stories his grandfather had told him and his father told him before that. But yeah, the one song that I'm going to talk about is Keep It Between the Lines, which is really just kind of a song of fatherly advice. And it's really, really good, really, really strong, cleverly written song by Sturgill Simpson. Yeah, this is an album that means a lot to me. It came out right after my son was born. Well, a couple months after my son was born, but still, new father, have this come out at the same time. Big deal. So this album means a lot. And yeah, that'll be it. Happy Father's Day to all the dads of dads. Yeah, just happy Father's Day to all the sons and daughters who are thankful and grateful for their dads. My two kids are a little too young to get any gratitude around here. That's okay. My gift for Father's Day today was an hour and a half to the house, to have the house to myself so that I could record vinyl community videos. Yes. Living the life. So anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Take care. Be good to everybody. Cheers.